Tonight on One-on-One, we're going to sit down with the man that put LSU baseball on the map. And now that LSU is once again in the national prestige, it all started because of a man named Skip Bertman. He's my guest tonight on One-on-One.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm.
And welcome back to One-on-One. I'm Martin False, and joining us as promised, Coach Skip Bertman. And we're going to talk a little bit about the record in the program, but of course on One-on-One, we like to go in depth and find out a little bit more about the people we interview. Coach Bertman, thank you so much for being on the program.
It's my pleasure, Martin.
A lot of people know the resume. They know the NCAA appearances. They know the championships, and we'll get into that. But I want to go way back. J. Stanley Bertman.
Right.
First of all, what's the J for?
Just the initial J has been a hard thing at the airport or other things. It's just the initial J. Stanley Bertman. And of course, I've had the nickname Skip since I was a kid, and that stayed with me. I was born in Wayne County in Detroit, Michigan, but then I moved as an infant to Miami, Florida, actually Miami Beach. Baseball was something that I picked up at an early age. I knew I wanted to be a coach when I was 12. I coached some youth league teams when I was 14. They were 12. I had a mentor by the name of Max Sapper, former big league player, who taught me a lot about baseball when I was 15. He knew a lot about it, and he worked for the recreation department there, where I played youth ball, and then I coached youth ball. And then I got my degree and my master's degree, and then I went to an elementary school. But lucky for me, there was my wife. And she was teaching fifth grade, and of course I was the physical education teacher. And we met and got engaged and married quickly. We've been married 52 years now. And I have daughters and grandchildren, and everything's wonderful. My coaching in high school was, we had some championships, and
You had a state championship, 2 runners-up. You had 11.
I had 11 years. I was a high school teacher. I think that prepares you for a lot.
Let me ask you this: when you went as I think 58 through 60, you played catcher and outfield.
Right. I was a player at the University of Miami, but I was I would have made it to the big leagues, except for a tragic lack of ability. I would have made it. I was a player, and I enjoyed it, but I think I was way ahead of the other players. And even the coach knew that I had lots of baseball information. I read every book. I spoke to every person. It was very important for me to be a coach. Actually, my high school coach was an idol of mine, and naturally, second year out of college, I got back to Miami Beach High School, where I did the 11-year stint and had some success. And then I went with Ron Frazier at the University of Miami. I stayed there 8 years. We went to Omaha 7 times. We won twice. And Ron was terrific. He was way ahead of his time. He taught me a lot of things besides baseball.
Everybody who runs into you now obviously knows the championships, the College World Series, the 5 NCAA, but that transition is a very important time going from high school to college.
It is. I was lucky to get that opportunity. It's interesting enough, you want to know something, I had a chance to be the head of the recreation department with more money and a car, and I went to my children and my wife, and they said, nah, you got to stay in baseball. And I took the less money job with Ron, but I was lucky to be with Ron. He taught me to make sure the coffee's hot for the customers. He taught me that people at the ball game give you a big advantage, but that brings in money for the school. And he did a real good job at that, way ahead of his time. But I think, Martin, what separated me from other coaches was the getting a group of people together called the Coaches Committee and asking them to give some money and fixing up the restrooms so that women would come, fixing up the concession stand so that people would be serviced well, getting somebody to clean the seats, making it easy. I asked Chamber of Commerce, where can I talk to all the service groups in Baton Rouge? And again, it was about 56. I went to all of them, plus more. I spoke over 100 times my first year, sometimes in uniform. I sold the program. I sold the fact that we're going to have the San Diego chicken. We're going to do a lot of promotions we did at Miami. And, people said to me, you remind me of Dale Brown. And I took that as a very big compliment. Dale, a good friend, and of course, a wonderful coach. And I produced it by going, charging money and going from 20,000 to 40 to 70 to 110. And the statistics just came out this year, and LSU, for the 27th year in a row, has led the nation in attendance, not by a little bit, but by 175,000.
I'm listening to you, and we all know the storied career you have. At one point, you had to learn how to be a salesperson, but right. I'm also hearing that very successful people are either one, driven by success, or they're scared to fail.
I had a relentless desire to succeed. I never did anything but coach baseball or be the athletic director all my life.
But you had to sell it.
But you had to have more than just coaching baseball. Like, I was a good motivator. Yeah. I could make a video that would make the kids cry. I could make a video or do something that the kids would be very excited about. I was a public speaker, and I could do a lot of things with the kids that I don't think coaches could do. Plus, I was 44 years old when I came here. I was not a young man.
Right.
And I think with that age comes a lot of wisdom, a lot of maturity, and a lot of confidence.
We're one as a unit. We're dynamite. You represent LSU. You represent your family. You represent your maker. I want you to enjoy the moment, have a ball, and play like champions.
When did you know you had, most people go through their career and they got a pretty good idea. They're pretty good at something when they're successful. But when did you know you were a pretty good baseball coach?
Well, at LSU, the kids were very satisfied to be mediocre, and I was not, and I said to them how special they were, and they were going to this place in Middle America called Omaha. And the sights, the sounds, the smells of Omaha, Nebraska were familiar to me. I had been there, been part of winning teams, and I didn't see any reason why they couldn't win. But in their minds, they didn't think they were special enough. Somebody from California would have to win, or New York or something. And they didn't think. And I showed them. And very quickly, we became good. Like, we were good in the first year, but in the second year, we were really good. Right. Went to a regional for the first time a year. And the third year, we went to Omaha for the first time. Mm-hmm. And I don't think there's any much doubt that I could teach them how to hold the bat or throw a curveball or do some things. But really, you have to recruit good athletes.
Here's the stretch, the 0-1. Swung on line drive, base hit. Terrio rounds third. He heads for home. Here's the throw. He is safe. Tigers win. Tigers win. Brad Cressy singles in the winning run, and the Tigers are the national champs of 2000.
I never threw a pitch or hit a ball for the team, and you have to get the kids to do that. So I had good kids.
Did you like to recruit?
No.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Terrible. Especially at the time I did it.
Right.
Where, you had to take a car. And you had to go to the north part of Louisiana, or you had to take a plane. And the signing day was April 15th, and a lot of people hadn't even played yet.
Right.
Today it's so easy. They all have these showcases where you go and 160 kids that can all play are right in front of you. And they're labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right through 160 on a sheet. And you turn a page and it tells you all about oh, come on. It's so easy today. In those days, I was stopped a lot by the state troopers as I buzzed through the highways, to try and find a kid somewhere. And I took some airplanes, but the truth is, it was hard to recruit. And most of the kids are local kids that I recruited from Louisiana, or they're junior college kids.
I feel certain that if you got stopped in Louisiana by a state trooper today, you'd have a pretty good chance of getting off. When you came to LSU, I think it was '84, first year at LSU.
That's the first.
I know you were driven by success, but were you nervous at the time you took the job?
As you said, Martin, once I got there, I realized it was a sleeping giant. I think the athletic administration their vision was slow. Bob Broadhead was very good, and then he left, and then another guy came in, and I think he just wanted to be 7-4 and play in the Independence Bowl in any sport, and that no sport could be good because we're just LSU. And that's what he carried down to his coaches. And of course, we became very good, but so did other teams. Dale Brown had very successful basketball teams. And when you get the right football coach, like you have Nick Saban or you have Les Miles, you get the right football coach, you can win them all.
As a baseball, phenomenal coach, and you get a good football coach and you get a good basketball coach, do you feed off each other's sight?
Yes, absolutely. Because there were two sports when I started. There was football and spring football. And Dale Brown changed it to where there was basketball, and I changed it to where there was baseball. Now the softball team goes to the World Series, the baseball team goes to the World Series, the golf team wins the national championship, the track team wins the national championship. There's lots of teams that can. When I took over, I explained to the coaches nothing less than a great effort would be necessary, from them. And then if you're not going to be first in the SEC, you better be in the top 4. There were only 10 teams when we started.
The 5 College World Series championships. When you got the first one, I'm sure it felt really, really good. But as a coach, was there more pressure? They always say it's more pressure to win the first one, but I've been thinking, in your shoes, when you were winning so many, when you start getting to the 4th and 5th, then you've set the goal.
I think one of the assistant coaches at LSU said on television, we've reached the minimum standard at LSU. We're going to the College World Series. I think everybody expects that. I think one of the most exciting things for me is the fact that Omaha, Nebraska loves LSU and the difference in money that our people bring, the length that we stay.
Right.
Other teams can be there from Louisiana, but it's not the same. A lot of times, people from Omaha came back, and I met them at the old Alec Box. Many, 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 many times. We were shown better preference. We had more people than the other people, from other schools. I think that's an advantage. They learned how to make a jambalaya or red beans and rice in Omaha. They were purple gold anywhere, and if you wore that, I think you're treated a little differently. I was proud of that. That meant our boys were super good people as well as good players.
You've had a chance to coach many great athletes, many athletes that are now in the majors, but who was the one player that when he came on board, you said, okay, this is a guy with a good heart, good soul, good for the team? Who was the one guy that shocked you or surprised you along the way?
Honestly, I was rarely ever shocked. We worked hard. Okay, I'd say harder than most. It was easy for me to see who was best and who wasn't. At the end of the fall, I could probably play a team and be ready to go. I didn't have to use 15, 20 games of the spring to see who was the best. Some players played for 4 years or 5 years, where they redshirted. And 96, when we went to Omaha, when Warren Morris hit the homer, we had 5 walk-ons on that team, but they were 22, 23 years old already. So they were really good by that time. And one of the walk-ons was Warren Morris. So if you coach them in that sense, now I wasn't surprised, but I think a lot of people are surprised when you say, well, he's only a walk-on.
Right.
Well, he's not really a walk-on. He's an academic scholarship.
Right.
Didn't need a baseball scholarship. And I knew who he was, and people call him a walk-on, but he really wasn't.
Yeah.
And then Jason Williams from Gonzales, he had an academic scholarship. It's the sport with the lowest number of scholarships per capita than any of the 89 championships that the NCAA has. For some reason, baseball is discriminated against as the only sport where you have a number that you can have. You can't have more than 35. I don't know why those things are there, but the truth is they keep succeeding because the kids are terrific. They're good athletes. They're good in the community. They come from where the parents took them as a youngster and took them right to college. You go on a road and they're the parents. Right. And you're at Vanderbilt, in Tennessee, and how do you get off? What do you people do for a living? They work, but they make time for that. That was their vacation time.
How did you get them? Because naturally, each team has different personalities, different. I'm not going to say you coach different, but you're probably very attuned to the different personalities.
When I started from Miami, I was really the smallest of the small ball coach. I not only bunted them down, but I had ways for them to score with first and third and 2 outs. A force balk or a large lead play or a stumble play. That was practiced, See, I was the smallest of the small ball coaches, but then they came out with these monster bats. Whoa. And kids would swing them, and they were very strong. And I was a very big advocate of weightlifting. And I would be there at 6:30 in the morning and make sure that they, lifted. And they got stronger, there's no doubt about it. But these bats were so electric that a strong kid could use a 35-inch bat that only weighed 31 ounces.
So you weren't scared to morph into whatever team
I
you
morphed right into big ball, what I labeled gorilla ball that everybody uses now. And I said to the boys, look, we're going to strike out a lot. We're not going to steal a lot. We're not going to take a lot of pitches. We're going to swing for the fences. We're going to hit a lot of homers. Well, we hit 188 homers.
Swung on, and that's hit to pretty deep left field. You can write down one of the book and count it. It's number 39. Now the pitch to Furnace. Swung, and that's hit to deep left field. That is going. See ya. Swung, and that's hit to very deep left field. That one will leave the yard. Can you believe that? It hit the scoreboard. Holy cow.
Teams, we were big on that. We had one guy with 40 homers, another guy with 23, another guy with 30, another guy with 19. Everybody could hit homer. It wasn't that I even recruited differently. They came. The ones that wanted to swing the bat said, I want to play for LSU.
You've had so many moments, and I don't want to shortchange anybody that's played and won a championship for you, but what went through your mind and what electricity went through your body when Warren Morris hit that home?
Okay, there were 2 out and a man at third base, and we're 1 run down. Okay, and Warren Morris had a hamate injury, and when he played, he missed 40 games. See, people don't know this. When he played, we were 22-0. Not only was he a great player who ultimately played in the big leagues, but he was great as a leader for us. But this hamate takes time to recover. On the final day of the College World Series, he said, Coach, my wrist feels terrific. He said, best it's ever felt. I think I'm back. Final day of the season. Well, he got 3 hits that day. Not just a home run, but he got 2 others. Threw out a guy at the plate, and We left for the Olympic team 2 days later, and he hit a home run in the bottom of the ninth against Japan. He was injured most of the year, and that's why it was his first home run, and that's why he was batting ninth. Okay, but that day he made it a point to come to me. So Tim Lanier, ahead of him, struck out against a very, very great pitcher by the name of Robbie Morrison, who had an unusually strong breaking ball. But Tim Lanier just didn't strike out. This four-year player battled and battled so that Warren Morris could see this curveball from the on-deck circle again and again, because he came in relief, Morrison, and nobody had faced him. And he did strike out Tim on an incredible major league pitch that nobody could hit. But that was the same pitch that Warren hit.
Now Warren Morris hits a deep drive down the right field line. That ball is gone! LSU wins the College World Series on a home run by Morris.
Got it, and it was out. That's exactly what went through my mind. And I walked out as everybody got quiet. I turned around, I looked up to my wife, who's hugging somebody, you know, and everybody was so excited. And then I ran out to spread the people so Warren could get the home plate, you know, as I remember. And yeah, that was a highlight. That's the only time that's ever been done. In the 50th anniversary when Warren did it. It's never been done before. It's never been done since. The only other person that ever hit a home run with two out in the bottom of the ninth to win the World Series was Bill Mazeroski with the 1960 Pittsburgh Pirates. And oddly enough, great story, Warren is drafted and he's coached by Bill Mazeroski.
Wow.
As a great second baseman. He could really make the double play. And he hit ninth. You know, the pitcher hit ninth, but he hit eighth at the bottom. He's not a great hitter, but he got that homer. And those two were working together on the same field. I thought that was very amazing. Yeah. And of course, Warren played 2.5 or 3.5 years in the major leagues. Right. And he was a 3.95 zoology major who wanted to go to medical school, could easily be, always be accepted, but you can't start it and stop it in medical school. So he wanted to play pro ball, and then by the time he finished, and he married his, high school sweetheart, and they have 3 beautiful children, and he's a high-level executive at Red River Bank in Alexandria, and he's just terrific. He's just one of the great kids of all time.
When did you get to the point, Coach, that you come to LSU, you said people were sitting in stands like this at first, and you start getting them going, but at one point, I think 5 or 6 years in a row, LSU led attendance records while you were coach. Was there ever a conscious or unconscious moment, subliminal moment where you looked in the stand and you went, this is pretty good?
Yes, but more than once. At first, my first year, we played at 1,700. We had the San Diego Chicken. Everybody was screaming and yelling. We had music going. People danced on the field. There were promotions, and besides the Chicken, he was terrific. I had to raise money, for him to come, but he was terrific in his day. And we never had the LSU Tiger, come to a baseball game, at least not at that time.
Right.
But so we went out and got San Diego Chicken, and the people recognized who he was, and he was funny, and he did his thing.
If you take all the championships, the naming of the field in your name, the naming of the road by the stadium, you take the high school championships, you take the Hall of Fames, 4 or 5 Hall of Fame. If you take all that, and then I get Dale Brown and Nick Saban and your high school partners back in the day, and I said, what's the one word that y'all would use to describe Coach Skip Bertman?
Relentless. You know, in other words, if I don't succeed, it doesn't mean that I've failed. Failure is just part of the ongoing of life, and you just jump back in and you try again. So I've had many ideas and many things that I've tried that didn't work, and I would consider them experiments, just like Thomas Edison when he found the light bulb, right filament for the light bulb. I don't see them as failures. I see them as opportunities, and those things for me, are very important. I think people who think like that, I think that's good. So the word is relentless. And thank you very much, Martin, for your insightful questions.
Good having you here. We appreciate it. And, certainly a legend. Thank you.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm.